Hello, everybody. This will be my first freestyle essay. I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to say. But you know what I'm going to do is I am going to do the best of my abilities to continue to conversate. Just get the ball rolling, wherever you are, whatever you're doing right now, I hope that you're having a great day. I hope that, life is good. But anyways, I do know that I am going to be talking about the topic of how social media affects mental health. And I know this is a common topic, something people talk about quite often, but I am going to do the best of my abilities to have a unique take. Well, I'm going to give my take, and like I said before, this is a freestyle, so bear with me. So, when it does come to mental health issues, the abundance of information or overstimulation can make that worse. I think being constantly exposed to things and having knowledge at the tip of our fingers is not something a human being should have. I mean, that's the type of thing God has. Having infinite knowledge at the tip of our fingers, it's not something humans can do. And this is going to be a completely separate topic, but I think that social media and social media attention and constantly being bombarded with that attention, especially if you're an influencer of some sort, can infect you with a sort of God complex. It can very much make you delusional, crazy, and unbearable to be around, because you somewhat have this idea that you are above others. And that's one thing about it. The other thing about it is if you have low self-esteem, or if you're not happy about where you are in life currently, then social media can have a negative effect on your mental state. You feel as if you're not where you want to be in life. You feel as if, okay, for example, you see somebody that's your age that has, say you're 25 or so. You see someone on social media that has a new car, new house, a new baby on the way, and you're like, wow, I feel very behind in life. This person's married. This person has a secure job. But at the same time, social media only highlights the positive. We don't think about the negative. We don't think about the financial strain that might put somebody under having a new baby, having a new house, a new car. All those things could be damaging to their mental health. And they're just showing you the highlights. And obviously, we want the best for ourselves. So, we show the best of ourselves. And we want others to believe that we're doing fine. We want others to give us positive feedback, positive attention. And showing those positives on social media can be a way of getting validation from others. And, I haven't really done research on the statistics, but I feel like, and of course, social media can do a lot more positive than it can do negative. At least I believe, because it also keeps us connected can't speak. It also keeps us connected to one another. It keeps us connected to family, friends, loved ones, etc. It can help us announce big milestones, such as having a baby or such as getting married. But at the same time, having that constant bombardment of social media, of information, of, well, me personally, I know I have had mental health issues in the past, and right now, the only social media that I have is YouTube. So I can learn, so I could stay engaged in what's happening in the world, so I could understand, the news. But at the same time, there's going to be those different sides of what's happening in the news. There's going to be, the left, the right, and then there's people in the middle that are looking at this and taking everything with a grain of sand. But then there's also people that fully believe. Like, there's the naive individuals that will take stories at face value. And I think that right there by itself is a negative thing. But at the same time, getting the word out about charities and different campaigns is an important thing that we need to be involved with. And it's something that, anybody in any form of government should be informed. But us as a democracy, we need to be able to make informed decisions so we can vote on those things. So we can, move forward as a society. But yeah, that's one positive, but there's also the commercial salesman sort of space. So I think one of the negatives of this is, one, we're constantly being advertised to. And constantly being advertised to is constantly being advertised to, for one, it sort of ruins our perception of, retail. I kind of think everything is sort of a scam. And forgive me, y'all, I'm freestyling, of course, but in time, I'll be better at this. I'll just say, I don't like constantly being advertised to, but when it comes to constantly being advertised to, I am a fiend to spend money. If I could be 100% honest, I love to spend money. I love to have new things. It gives us that sense of dopamine. And, I can't. Some of us have this sort of impulse to keep spending, and I can't say that I'm innocent of that. I can't say I'm not one of the individuals that knows how to properly save their money. I most definitely am not. Excuse me. And if you're sleeping, forgive me for that. ear vomit you just heard. But yo, can we just chill with the brand new t-shirt brands that are coming around every hour, every second of the day? Everybody and their mother wants to sell a t-shirt, bro. I get it. We all want that money. I live in a capitalist society. And honestly, I think capitalism is a great way to, how do I say this? I do like capitalism. I do. I haven't actually I've been a beneficiary, and also I've been on the bad side of it at the same time. I like the idea that I can make as much money as I want. I don't like a third of my money is going to Uncle Sam. But what I will say is being able to make as much money as you can is good. But everybody trying to scam you for that money is bad. I don't really have too many other thoughts on that. But that, you know what I'm saying? Nothing else comes to mind. Just chatting, yapping. If you're listening to my voice and them cheeks clapping, okay. In conclusion, social media, and I took a big derail on that. I wonder what social media is like in other countries. I know I'm supposed to be hitting the conclusion, but this is another side note here. I wonder what it's like China social media, being in Russia, having social media. And this part of a essay is usually when people would do research. But I'm not doing that right now. Because I'm yapping. I wonder how social media has effect on their government. Or, hold up a second. Does North Korea have social media? No. Do communities have social media? I most definitely should have knew North Korea didn't have social media, but yes, communist parties do have social media, and those organizations actively use it. Yeah, so it's mainly used for propaganda, and typically it's used for outreach. And China does have strict internet censorship, and the Communist Party uses Twitter for campaigns. 1 second. Okay, yeah. Like I thought, it's mainly used to control information. We're constantly being monitored as people anyway. So I'm sure whenever a communist party sees social media or sees something on social media that they're not fond of, they're going to be like, yeah, take that down. And it's going to be, and we like to say, and this is another side note, so I'm way off on the topic right now. It's come to my attention that a lot of internet influencers, social streamers, I'm not going to name any names, but people that support communism and don't live underneath a communist government are the main ones benefiting from capitalism. Let's say, the streamer Hassan or whatever. Idealistically, everybody having a similar wage and being able to have a livable wage is awesome. But has it really worked for... You know what? I'm going to do research while I'm talking to you. Let's see here. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Looking up some examples of successful communist governments. I understand, socialism, could be a very... I'm trying to think off the top of my head the similarities. I mean, it's just the same as, having a livable wage. Social ownership is mainly socialism. Socialism involves social ownership. Means of production? Okay. And a focus on equitable distribution, although through... Okay, so socialism. Okay. But why does he choose to say communism? Why not just... Oh. Then again, I only saw a couple clips. And then again, we don't know. What are socialist governments that... Well, there's a... seems like there's quite a bit of socialist governments that have failed. Let's see one that has succeeded. Okay, actually, let me name the ones that have failed. And let me name some communist governments that have also failed. Bear with me. Governments that failed. We'll look at the successes later. In the conclusion, we're way off topic now, aren't we? If you're sleeping doing this, I hope you're having a great, no, that sounds creepy. Great nap. You stupid motherfucker. Okay. Alright. Yeah, Russia. The USSR. The USSR command. Okay. Alright. This is what I'm going to do. I'm gonna look into why each of these failed in another video. Okay. Because I'm way off. And trust me, I'm indecisive when it comes to the topic I want to speak on. But we're going to touch on why communism and socialism fails later. Anyways, this is supposed to be about social media and mental health. I'm going to post all of this anyway. All of this is getting posted, okay? This is a reference. So, a year from now, when I'm doing this still, a year from now, if I am still doing this, a year from now, I'm telling you, bro, I think I could be good at this. But anyway, social media. Okay, let me get back to it. The effects of social media. And this is what I'm going to do. I am actually going to read articles. Well, not actually read the articles. I'm going to, take pieces from articles. We're going to speak on them. I'm going to vomit my thoughts. This is thought vomit. Like a hoe on a dick. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. So, okay. This one is from Brown University. Social media usage. Let's see here. Back in 2005, when social media was still in its infancy, only 5% of users in the United States were involved in social media. In 2019, the number grew to about 70%. That's huge. I mean, technology has come such a long way since then. No surprise, obviously. I remember I wasn't on MySpace, but brother and sister had MySpace, and that was like the big one, and that was like the only one I really knew of before Instagram or Pop Tropica. Honestly, Pop Tropica, when I was a youngin', that was my thing. You know what I'm saying? That was my social media. But Pew Research surveyed social media usage and popularity among yada 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 among adults early in 2019. Survey found while most use social media platforms for adults are YouTube and Facebook, teens prefer Snapchat and Instagram, while TikTok is reportedly fastest growing social media network among young users, and this is from 2022. I mean, no surprise. Adults have things to do. They're on the go. Facebook is one of those things where actually Facebook is what I had before Instagram, of course. But Facebook, people that were young when that came out are grown adults, and majority of the people that are still on Facebook are grown adults. I don't know any Gen Z some Gen Z, of course, but Gen Z on the side that's closer to like Generation Alpha, they typically don't even speak on it, don't speak on social media. I mean, on Facebook specifically. I used to help out at church. It was like a volunteer, that's the word. I was a volunteer. And what they'd use to reach the young individuals were things like Instagram and TikTok. Those were the big two platforms. YouTube was mainly for long form content when it came to sermons, when it came to like promotional things. They'd reach out to the youth using, TikTok, Instagram, promotion. And oddly enough, what was it? About like 3 or so months ago, I went to this event at church, and people found out about it. People that didn't know about the church at all found out about it through TikTok. And these two young women met each other via TikTok and then linked up in person to go to that church event. And that's the beauty of social media. That's one of the beauties of social media, I'll say that. TikTok is forming friendships. TikTok is also causing brain rot, but maybe we'll get to that. I don't know. All right, social media is nearly universal among today's teens. Pew Research Center. I'm sorry. Pew Research Center reports this. This isn't what I'm laughing at, but 97% of 13 to 17-year-olds use at least one of 7 major online platforms. And I'm pretty sure the 2 main ones are TikTok and Instagram, of course. The amount of time spent on social media, on social sites, is astounding. One report indicates the average teen, ages 13 to 18, spends about 9 hours on social media a day. Each day. Tweens, 8 to 12. 8 is a tween? Tweens, ages 8 to 12, are on for about 6 hours a day, which, makes more sense. I hope people from ages 8 to 12 don't even have cell phones. Bro, when I was 12, I wasn't even allowed a phone, really. And when I had a flip phone. Like, by the time I was 12, iPhones already came out. I had the phone that you could slide and you text that way. All the kids were like, hey, yo, that old ass phone, boy. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like, in a way, well, I'm not even going to hold you. I was very socially anxious back then. I don't know if social media would have helped or harmed that, but I don't know. I feel like it helped me to define myself as an individual a lot more, because that, as well as the fact that nobody that went to my school lived in my neighborhood. Actually, barely any kids in general lived in my neighborhood. But 9 hours a day is kind of crazy. I'm not going to hold you. During some unemployment activities in my life, that was me on YouTube. You dig? And also, I also fall asleep listening to stuff on YouTube. I think it's just my Gen Z brain, you know? I have an issue when it comes to silence sometimes. And over time, I guess, alright, an issue with silence is a little crazy. Nah, I didn't really have an issue. I preferred not to, okay, I think I know what it is. When I was younger, like a tween, as they say, I used to fall asleep with the TV on. Part of it was because when I was that age, I was scared of the dark, for one. And two, what's in the dark? No, I'm playing. But I was just bored all the time. I didn't have like any friends in my neighborhood. If I had any friends, they live like they live pretty far away. Excuse me again. But what was I even talking about? Yeah, I was just bored all the time. Had my TV on, whatnot. Just being bored. But my phone activity, well, obviously I'm not scared of the dark anymore. But, and this is another side note. scared of the dark is kind of like a metaphor for my life right now. I'm somewhat scared of the unknown. That's one reason why I took so long to start this YouTube channel. But my phone usage is 12 hours. And at least 10 of those hours is spent on YouTube listening to something while I'm working on something, or I'm working or I'm falling asleep. So for however many hours I have I'd be listening to something, and I just don't know where I was going with that point. I went on so many side tangents that I forgot what I was talking about at the root. But like I said, folks, I'm going to get better at this. Okay, so let's look at some pros that Brown has to say about social media. You know what? I should have been live streaming this if I'm just going to say or just drop the whole thing, because YouTube is going to have a conniption trying to put this up, upload this whole audio. What? But anyway, let's look at the pros of social media, huh? So why is social media good, huh? Let me take a sip of water. A little ASMR sip go for you, you know what I'm saying? Social media and technology offer us greater convenience and connectivity. Like I said earlier, it's saying staying connected with family, friends worldwide via email, text, FaceTime. Speaking of that, I had a cousin that went to Japan. Shout out to him. I didn't even know. Bro was in Japan. I'm like, dang, you in Japan? He like, yeah, I'm in Japan. I'm like, hey, yo, I heard they're racist over there. It's like, nah, they're not racist. They just kind of ignorant, you know? Kind of ignorant. And it's not out of bad faith. So, yeah, I'm thinking about going to Japan. Just seeing what it's like. I was talking to him about, how can I learn Japanese and whatnot. Yeah. Thinking about it. All right, you also get quick access to information and research when it comes to YouTube. Sorry, y'all, I'm not feeling super well. At the same time, probably need to take some medicine. But quick access to information and research, of course. But that's more of the internet than social media. But I know social media kind of ruined a lot of criminals, a lot of crime, a lot of social media is used a lot in court cases. I'm trying to think of an example. Examples. Okay, let's see here. One example, Ramona versus Steelcase Incorporated. In this personal injury case, the plaintiff claimed to be severely injured and largely confined to her home. However, the defense was granted access to her private MySpace and Facebook account. Man, that MySpace will get to you. Which contained photos of her smiling and enjoying an active social life, leading the court case to rule that this content was relevant and discoverable because it directly contradicted her claim. Interesting. So, I think, it's very useful when it comes to things like that, like fraud cases. We see a lot of people promoting bank scams, and they just getting clapped by the court system. Like, bro, what did you think was going to happen? They might be getting clapped in jail because of that, but I digress. Let's see here. Let me give one more example. Tienda versus State in a criminal case, in a criminal trial. MySpace messages. Golly, that MySpace will get to you, boy. MySpace messages linked to the defendant were admitted as evidence to support gang-related charges. The court ruled the messages admissible because circumstantial evidence, including content, profile photos, and associated email addresses, sufficiently link the account to the defendant. Golly. Yo, if you're involved in crime, why are you on social media? Rather than, if you're not getting your clients from social media, not a scam or anything, just saying, why are you on social media promoting? Well, first off, promoting any sort of scam, promoting any sort of gang involvement. Why are you messaging anybody? Whether it be your associates, your ops, why are you doing that on social media? I feel like that's why there were so many cold cases in the past, ladies and gentlemen. So many cold cases have taken place. What on, way before, let me watch how I say things. You think people, in the 80s, back when people was really, on that, were man, you think they would actually be, actually, I can't say, and I'm going to leave that alone. I will leave that alone. Back to the case. Back to the article that Brown has been writing. Okay, banking and bill. I think I need to blow my nose. I'm not going to do that in the mic. Banking and bill pay are at our fingertips. So, are they including apps, just everyday apps? Because a banking app isn't social media, is it? Is it included in social media? Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I am learning with you. I am all up in this mic right now. I am eating this microphone right now. I just noticed that after that happened right there when I was talking. But anyway, let's move forward. Online learning, job skills, and content development it has YouTube in parentheses. So YouTube, shout out to you. I use you all the time to learn. And it's such a great resource. Back in my early days, before I was doing some freelance media production, I learned so much from YouTube, audio editing, video editing. YouTube is the platform that, regardless of what you like, your interests, I don't think it will go away. YouTube is here to stay. Involved in civic engagements like fundraisers, social awareness, provides a voice. Awesome. On the topic of it provides a voice, social media has given everybody a voice, good or bad. We have the delusional people, that the quote unquote socially conscious individuals that are on social media, the delusionally social conscious individuals, those that overuse words like Nazi and fascist, that don't understand what true fascism or Nazism is. It's irritating. But anywho, like I said earlier, it's also a great marketing tool. Opportunities for remote employment. Yeah, that Zoom will help you out, bro. Zoom helped me get my first job after graduation, like at a news station. That Zoom, shout out to Zoom, bro. Shout out to Uvu, bro. Anybody remember Uvu, my guy? Some of y'all were Skype folks, but I was a Uvu guy through and through. Uvu, since I was, nobody that went to my school back in that time lived in my neighborhood, I slide in Shorty's DMs, and I try to get in some Uvu calls, just chop it up, you know what I'm saying? Uvu really, helped me, bro. Helped me with, getting out of, social anxiety. I'm not gonna hold you. You do a Uvu, Uvu and Kick, the Uvu and Kick two-mans, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, social media can be a good thing. Alright, back to the article. Social media can be a good thing, like I said. But if teens ever feel uncomfortable about something they see or read on social, they should trust their own feelings and talk to someone, a parent, a teacher, or another trusted adult. Bullying, threats, cruelty on social media are often all signs that the person doing those things needs help. Yeah. Cyberbullying is gross. Let me just say that. But I think, I'm not going to touch on cyberbullying, bro. I remember back in the day, there was this chick that would catfish people on social media. Spoiler alert, she was kind of a big girl, heavy-set individual. But she'd have photos of her with her face covered, and she was slim thick. Let me tell you something. I'm whispering But, bro, I hope y'all can hear me. Slim, thick. Like, I understand, like, and she was using social media as a way to get that validation that she wasn't getting in real life from dudes online. There's plenty of dudes online that like talking to women online. That's why catfish was invented. Neve is a genius. But to use dudes to get validation online, Discord women do that shit all the time. Forgive me for my language, because this is an essay. No, this ain't no essay. This is a yap session. I don't know what I'm talking about. But let's talk about the cons that I'm not even halfway through this article. I should have just live streamed this. I might live stream it next time. Let me take a sip of water. Yo, I think I might have an ear infection or something. But anywho, the cons. Along with the good comes the bad. Okay. Well, all of its benefits, the nature of social media presents a range of potential issues. Online versus reality. Social media itself is not the problem. It is not. It is the way people use it in place of actual communication, in-person socialization. Friends on social media may not actually be friends and may even be strangers. What? Another random side note, I'm jealous of those dudes that meet the baddies on stuff like Fortnite and League of Legends. Like how? How? You lucky man. Anyways. Sorry, y'all. My ear is sore. Anyways, social media is also addicting. When you're playing a game or accomplishing a task, you seek to do it as well as you can. Once you succeed, your brain will give you a dose of dopamine, other happiness hormones, making you happy. The same mechanism functions when you post a picture to Instagram or Facebook. Once you see all the notifications for likes and positive comments popping up on your screen, you'll subconsciously register it as a reward. But that's not all. Social media is full of mood modifying experiences. Oh yeah, for sure. Like I said earlier, I did point this out. I should work for Brown's team, but let's see. Yeah, that false sense of dopamine, it's replacing actual socialization, and I didn't realize how bad my social anxiety was until COVID or post-COVID, when everything opened up again. I'm just sort of like, oh, cool, I could go out again. And I'm like, oh, I don't really have friends anyways. I kind of do. I do have friends and acquaintances, but it's not like people that I hang out quite often. I have friends, and nowadays I have gotten better with that, but back then I wasn't very social, and even before that, COVID came, I wasn't the most social individual, the most out there individual. But, that false sense of dopamine that I was getting from, sliding in old girls' DMs back then wasn't the same because, I felt like in person when I was younger, it's like I didn't learn the art of the conversation. I learned the art of the DM, the art of the slide in the DMs. Man, I don't use my brain this much. It's something I'm realizing. I'm already getting distracted with everything else right now. But anyways, I'm gonna keep focused. I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna see this through. Okay? Alright. Fear of missing out, that FOMO. FOMO has become a common theme and often leads to continual checking of social media sites. And another side note, that the ghost vibrations, I'm not sure if y'all heard of ghost vibrations, but I feel like it's part of that FOMO. It's like, excuse me, ghost vibrations are you feel as if your phone vibrated, or you got a notification on your phone and it vibrated. You look at your phone, nothing's there. I feel like that's another part of the FOMO, if you're missing out. And there's nothing there. There's not a worse feeling when you felt like your phone vibrated and there's nothing there. It's like, am I going crazy? Do I want a notification so badly? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back on it. The idea that you might miss out on something if you're not online can affect your mental health. And that's why I deleted social media. Everybody that's important in my life, I either see often or they have my phone number. That's kind of why I deleted social media. It's I don't want to attach myself to that feeling of needing to be on social media. And at the same time, there's so many baddies on social media, and there's not a baddie in my life that I'm kind of hating. I'm hating. I feel like that's why incels are the way they are, constantly on the internet, but don't have any constant, solid people in their lives. And I don't want to be an incel. I feel like, and I'm going to be vulnerable here for a second. Back in, and it's not like I'm about to boo-hoo cry type, but back in the day, and this is super embarrassing. No, I'm playing with you. I used to be deep in that alpha male rabbit hole. It's not like I was rooting for Andrew Tate or none of them. It was these guys would say negative things about women, and 90% of the things about women that they said, I obviously disagreed with, but this is where they get you. They throw a little bit of truth in there. They sprinkle that truth on top of the scoop of lies they put into that cone, which is social media. If you're visualizing what I'm saying, the platform is the cone. The lies and the content that they have are the ice cream. And then the truth are the sprinkles. Ladies and gentlemen, I should be Dr. Phil. No, I'm playing. But, it was like they expressed some similar things that I thought of about some women that were in my life. Don't trust me. I wasn't in the crib gooning all the time, of course. I was out there on the prowl somewhat. I wasn't like a player or anything, but I was actively seeking relationships. But a lot of the women that I was around weren't seeking relationships. They were having fun, quote unquote, having fun. And obviously, it came to light that it wasn't just having fun. They were either keeping their options open, or there was another guy in the picture, or they just weren't into me. So, a lot of them in those little sprinkles of truth expressed things that I expressed. Then I went down the rabbit hole of not a lot of alpha males, but a couple of them guys, like Andrew Tate. I'm trying to think of somebody else, but let's just use Andrew Tate as the example. And it's like you go down that rabbit hole, and if you're like a guy that doesn't have experience with women, you're going to listen to that guy and be like, oh, so that's what they want. That's what they're like. That leads to like the next point that Brown was about to say, self-image issues. But I'm going to get to their definition and what they wrote about that in a second. But then they spew all these ideologies about self-image, yada, 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 what it means to be a man, what women look for in a man, and then they fall down into that little pit where they're sort of trapped. They're not that type of man. They don't know if they want to be that type of man. They don't necessarily... They don't actively go out and be that type of man. Not everybody, at least. But it's sad to see. Honestly, it is. And they fall for this idea of what manhood is. And some of these guys don't have strong father figures in their lives. I'm happy I had a father figure in my life that, he told me, and just watching him, he taught me the importance of being a man, being selfless, being humble, and not being arrogant about who you are, but still getting things done and having confidence. Not all those guys had that. And sadly, the alpha male space, I don't think is going to go away. It's just going to evolve. It's always been here. For example, like those street interviews. Gross. I'm sorry. It's so annoying. Whenever I see somebody that has a street interview, I don't like watching. I don't watch those videos anymore. It's just frustrating. But, people used to interview at spring break all the time. It's like, oh, I like to party. I'm here to party. You know what I'm saying? And that was the original alpha male space. But I'm going to move forward. I don't want to get too in-depth in the whole alpha male nonsense or whatever. I've been yapping for oh, wow, I just hit an hour. Yeah, bro, we just hit our first milestone. 1 hour video, dog. Anyways, I would like to take this time to talk about our sponsor, common sense. You gotta use common sense, ladies and gentlemen. Think, does this man that you're watching, does he truly have the lifestyle that you want to live? I don't need a fast car. Nor do I want women in rotation. The ability to have that would be awesome in theory, but I just want one solid woman, one solid individual. Good character, a good heart, and a smile I look forward to seeing when I wake up before I lay down. And, whenever I'm, when, a smile I look forward to seeing. But common sense, common sense would say, do the right thing, right? Not for everybody. And I don't mean to have this sponsored ad last so long. But, and I'm going to take a sip of water. Actually, you know what? Not everybody was taught common sense. Or, common sense wasn't necessarily nurtured in people, but I forgot what the point was finna be. All right, let's get back to the... Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyways. Let's get back to the whole self-image thing. Okay. I remember what I was going to say. Common sense dictates that not everybody is the same, right? And you can't look at everybody the same. So one thing that we have as people with common sense, we can understand that if everybody's not the same, then if we continue to love how we should, then life will work out for the best. We'll have the people in our lives that reflect the type of life we want to live. I want to live in love. I want to walk in love. I want to be a loving person. Therefore, and in the past, I let people that hurt me affect how I treat people. But if I continue to walk in love, to keep in mind that people aren't the same, then I can eventually find those people that are loving individuals. For one, idealistically, at least. But at the same time, you have to, though, you can practice being innocent as a dove, but shrewd as a viper, being caring and loving, but knowing when to put your foot down at the same time, when to shut things down, when to be honest with yourself. That's something I'm learning right now. I need to learn how to be honest with myself. I'm still learning to be honest with myself. I'm not perfect. I mean, even recently, what was it? I want to say a few months ago, I was dealing with someone that just wanted fun. I lied to myself and I said, you know what? I'm the same way. I'm just kicking it. But I lied to myself. Ladies and gentlemen, I lied to myself. And if I was just 100% honest, I, for one, would continue to nurture that self-respect. And honestly, she would have respected me more for saying that. And, you know, it's not common sense to and here I go again. I don't know if I have ADHD or ADD, but more thoughts flood in, and then it's sort of like, where am I going with this? But I should have used my common sense to realize, because I understand me lying isn't going to help anything in this situation. If anything, it's going to further hurt me. Listen to reason. Be the man that's necessary. Not someone that just plays it safe. But let me take a sip of water. Man, ain't nothing like that Walmart purified water, boy. Now, what does Brown say? Brown University says self-image issues, period. Okay. Social media sites provide tools that allow people to turn others' approval for their appearance, the possibility to compare themselves to others. Comparing yourself to others, man, it's the catalyst for depression. It's a catalyst for going crazy, honestly. But I'm not going to go off on another tangent. Let's continue. I am far past an hour in. I'll just live stream this next time. It can be associated with body image concerns, the selfie-holics. Selfie-holics? Okay, yeah, those people are always taking pictures. I remember I saw this one picture of a chick taking a selfie next to her granddad's casket or something. Tweaking. Selfie-holics and people who spend most of their time posting. Excuse me. Man, that water got to me. It's giving me the burps. I don't think water does that. I think it's just like my gastral system is going bonkers. I need to eat better. And scrolling, people who spend most of their time posting are the ones most vulnerable to this, to body image issues. Yeah, get off that social media, girl. In fact, most college girls who use Facebook at least 5 times a day, I didn't know college girls use Facebook. Isn't this a 2022 study, or was it just updated recently? Anyways, yeah, I guess it was just updated recently. That doesn't mean... Yeah, it said Facebook at least 5 times. Those who use Facebook at least 5 times a day are likely to link their self-worth to their looks. That doesn't mean that the main problem is social media and only provides a medium for it, which further elevates the problem. It also promotes the same sort of behavior to others. And the fact that people link their self-worth to social media is exactly why everybody looks the same. Everybody looks the exact same. Everybody's like, this is what's attractive. This is what I need to be in order to be attractive. And to have people attracted to me, to get that approval from others, I need to look like this. I need to be like this. And it somewhat causes a hive mind. That's why you see all these people have the same ideology. They don't. Like, if we grew up in a time where social media wasn't so prominent in our lives, we wouldn't all have the same, well, we probably would all give in to what's socially acceptable, of course, but we wouldn't all have the same ideology. And I feel like we all would be able to conversate with each other about our differences a whole lot easier, like our differences in views. Not everybody holds the same view, but it's like the people that overuse the word fascist and bigot and stuff like that. They're just throwing out things that were vomited out to them anyway. Like, they were told what's socially acceptable, and they ran with it. They said, oh, you're a bigot if you don't believe this. Why are they a bigot? Because this is their way of thinking is wrong. Well, why is their way of thinking wrong? And that leads to Brown's next point, conveniently, social media and bullying. Social media and bullying. Sadly, there's an ugly side to all the technology. That there is an ugly side to all that technology offers. While bullying is not a new concept, social media and technology have brought bullying to another level. It becomes a more constant, ever-present threat. Cyberbullying, the state of Rhode Island, anti-bullying laws and regulations define bullying and cyberbullying as follows. Bullying means the use by one or more students of a written, verbal, or electronic expression or a physical act or gesture or a combination, therefore, directed at a student. I gotta pee. Ladies and gentlemen, this is pre-recorded, but at this time I'm going to, put a pause on it right here. And maybe I'll just come back to this next time, because this video right here is already going to be like 1:15. So we could touch back on this. We could come back for part 2. I hope to hear, well, I won't hear from you. I hope to see. I guess I won't see you. Hope to see you in my notifications, that you like the video, that you subscribe to your boy, that, you're just gonna come back and say hello, because your boy need that validation too. That validation of views. I don't know, I'm just yapping again. But anyways, bye.